Hello students. Students, welcome back to the English class. And now let's proceed further with the chapter Mother's Day. And today we will continue this chapter from page number 40. Doris, has she been like that with you too? Then Doris inquires if her mother was behaving with him also like that. As when Mrs. Pearson leaves the room, they both get together and start talking about their mother as she was behaving differently with them on that day. So Doris inquires that if her mother was behaving like that with Cyril also. Then Cyril answers, Cyril, yes, no tea ready, couldn't care less. Cyril also responded positively that mother was behaving with him also like that, even his tea was not ready, and she had never been careless ever before. Doris, well, I'm glad it's both of us. I thought I had done something wrong. Then Doris becomes happy after hearing these words of Cyril, as she was thinking that she might have done something wrong. That's why her mother was behaving with her like this. Cyril, so did I, but it's her, of course. Then Cyril says that he was also thinking in the same manner as she was thinking, but now they are very much sure that even it was only their mother who was behaving like that. They had not done anything wrong. Doris, she was smoking and playing cards when I came in. I couldn't believe my eyes. Then Doris says that her mother was smoking and she was playing cards when she had come back to the house, and she could not believe her eyes, as she was very much surprised to see all this. Cyril, I asked her if she was feeling off color and she said she wasn't. Then Cyril says that I had asked from mother if she was not feeling well, if she was feeling unwell, but she said that she had answered that she had never felt better in the house. Doris, well, she has suddenly all different, and that's what made me cry. It wasn't what she said, but the way she said it and the way she looked at. Now, Doris said that their mother has suddenly become different. She is different today, and that's why she was crying. And it was not that she was crying because her mother had said something to her. She was crying because because of the way of the mother as she had said her and the way she had looked at her. Cyril, haven't noticed that she looks just the same to me. But Cyril says he had not noticed any different in his mother, as physically she was appearing him just like the same as she appeared earlier. Doris, she doesn't to me. Do you think she could have hit her head or something? And God, what is it? Now Doris also says that physically she was the same, she had the same appearance, but I think something has hit her head or something has happened to her. That's why she was behaving like that. Cyril staggered. Again, he was surprised hearing these words. Do you mean she is barmy? And he was shocked to hear these words when she says that something had hit her head. Then he says that she meant that she has become crazy, she has become barmy. Doris, no, you fathead. Fathead means stupid. She calls him stupid. Concussion. She might have. Concussion means confusion caused by a blow on the head. And she was sure that might something might have blow her head. That's why she was behaving like that. Cyril sounds far fetched, but he says that it doesn't. He can't believe that something has hit her head. It was unconvincing for him. Doris, well, she has far fetched, if you ask me. She suddenly begins to giggle. Now Doris also starts laughing as she also feels that yes, it is unbelievable. Cyril, now then, what is it? Doris, if she is going to be like this when dad comes home, she giggles again. Cyril, beginning to guffaw. Guffaw means a loud and hearty laugh. I'm staying in for that two front dress circles for the first house. Then he says that he would not go out of the house, he would stay back in the house, and he wants to see what would happen when father comes back to the house, and starts laughing. Mrs. Pearson enters right. carrying a bottle of stout and a half filled glass. Now, Mrs. Pearson enters the room and she was carrying a bottle of stout, bottle of wine, and a half filled glass with her. Cyril and Doris try to stop their guffawing and giggling, but they are not quick enough. Now, they want to stop their laughing, but they could not. They were not able to stop themselves. Mrs. Pearson regards them with contempt, and when Mrs. Pearson looks at them, she looks at them with hatredness. Mrs. Pearson, coldly, you two are always talking about being grown up. Why don't you both try for once to be your age? She moves to the settee and sits. Then Mrs. Pearson tells them that both her children had always been talking like the mature persons. They never talk about just like the person of their age, and then she moved to the settee and she sits. Cyril, can't we laugh now? Mrs. Pearson, yes, if it's funny, go on, tell me. Make me laugh, I could do with it. Then Mrs. Pearson says that if it was funny, then they could also tell her why they were laughing, so that she could also laugh with them. Doris, you know, you never understand our jokes, mom. But Doris says that her mother had never understood their jokes. Mrs. Pearson, I was yawning at your jokes before you were born, Doris. Now, Mrs. Pearson tells them that she was fed up of their jokes and she knew all such kind of the jokes long before when they were still not born. Doris, almost tearful again. What's making you talk like this? What have we done? Now, Doris was again about to cry. The tears were coming almost from the eyes, and she inquires from the mother that why she was talking with them like that, what they had done. Mrs. Pearson promptly, nothing, but come in, ask for something, go out again, then come back when there is nowhere else to go. But Mrs. Pearson gives answer very quickly. Then she tells them that they had done nothing, but they have the routine that they come to the house and then they demand for something, just like they demand for the tea and about their clothes, whether they are ironed or not. Then they go out again, and after completing their work from the outside, they come back to the house, and when there is nowhere to else to go, they stay back. Cyril aggressively. Now he becomes very much angry. Look, if you won't get tea ready, then I'll find something to eat myself. Cyril becomes a little bit angry and he says if his mother would not prepare tea for him, then he would find something to eat himself. Mrs. Pearson, why not? Help yourself. She takes a sip of stout. Then Mrs. Pearson also agrees with him and she says that he should prepare his tea himself, or he should find something to eat himself, and also she starts taking a sip of stout. Cyril, turning on his way to the kitchen, mind you, I think it's a bit thick. I have been working all day. Then Cyril turns towards the kitchen and also he says that he had been very much tired as he had been working all day. Doris, same here. Doris also says that she also had been working since morning. She also had worked for the whole day. Mrs. Pearson calmly, 8-hour day. Now, Mrs. Pearson also says that they had worked for 8 hours a day. Cyril, yes, 8-hour day. And don't forget it. Mrs. Pearson, I have done my 8 hours. Cyril says that Cyril says to his mother that don't forget, not to forget that he had worked for 8 hours a day. Then Mrs. Pearson also says that she had also done the work for the 8 hours. Cyril, that's different. Doris, of course it is. Mrs. Pearson, calmly, it was. Now it is not. 44 week for all now. Then Cyril and Doris both says that it was different if she had worked for 8 hours, but now Mrs. Pearson says that it was earlier, but now it was different. Now she would also work 44 week for all now. For everybody would work for 40 hours. Just watch it at the weekend when I have my 2 days off. Also, she says that she would also take off from the work for the 2 days at the weekend, means Saturday and Sunday. Doris and Cyril exchange alarmed glances. Then they stare at Mrs. Pearson, who returns their look calmly. Then Doris and Cyril, they are surprised. They start looking at their mother. They are shocked. But Mrs. Pearson also looks at them, but she looks very calm. Cyril must grab something to eat. Looks as if I'll need to keep my strength up. Cyril exits to the kitchen. Now Cyril says that he must grab something for eating, and it seemed to him that he needed strength if he would stay here. Then he exits to the kitchen. Doris moving to the settee anxiously. Mummy, you don't mean you are not going to do anything on Saturday and Sunday? Doris is still confused. And then she again inquires from the mother if she really meant that she would not do work on Saturday and Sunday. Mrs. Pearson, airily. No, I wouldn't go that far. I might make a bed or two and do a bit of cooking as a favor. Now, mother assures him that she would not do any work, only she would make a bed or two, one or two bed. Then she would do a bit of cooking as a favor, and also she would demand favor for that. Which means, of course, I'll have to be asked very nicely and thanked for everything and generally made a fuss of it. Now, also, she says that when she would do some work, she would be asked very nicely and she would also receive thanks from them. And generally, it was they had never thanked her, they had never been grateful to her, and they had always made fuss of it. But any of you 40 hour a weekers who expect to be waited on hand and foot on Saturday and Sunday with no thanks for it are in for a nasty disappointment. Nasty means very bad, unpleasant, might go off for the weekend perhaps. And also she says that she had never got any thanks from them, and also they all are in a nasty disappointment. They have always disappointed her, and also now she informs her that maybe she would go out for the weekend. Doris, aghast. Go off for the weekend? Aghast means now she was filled with horror. She was very much filled with shock. And she was surprised to. She says that you would surely go for the weekend? Mrs. Pearson, why not? I could do with a change. Stuck here day after day, week after week. If I don't need a change, who does? Now, she tells her that she would also needed change as she had been staying in the house day after day for week after week. She every time she had been staying in the house, and now she needed a change. And also she says everybody needs a change. Doris, but where would you go? Who would you go with? Then Doris again inquires where she would go and with whom she would go. Mrs. Pearson, that's my business. You don't ask me where you should go and who you should go with, do you? Now Mrs. Pearson says that was her business. There is no need to interfere in that. Even she had never asked from anyone where they go and with whom they go, and Doris had never told her about that. Doris, that's different. Mrs. Pearson, the only difference is that I am a lot older and better able to look after myself. So it's you who should do the asking. Now Mrs. Pearson says that the difference is that she was older and also she could take care of her, she could look after herself, and it was Doris that she had to tell her mother whenever she go outside and with whom she goes. Doris, did you fall or hit yourself with something? Mrs. Pearson coldly, no, but I'll hit you with something, girl, if you don't stop asking silly questions. Doris stares at her open mouthed, ready to cry. Now Doris again says her mother that something had hit her, but Mrs. Pearson says that nothing had hit her, but now she would surely hit the girl with something if she didn't stop asking the silly questions. Now Doris was again looking at her, and again she was ready to cry. Doris, oh, this is awful. She begins to cry, not passionately. Now again she starts crying. Mrs. Pearson coldly, stop blubbering. Blubbering means crying. She tells us to stop crying. You are not a baby. If you are old enough to go out with Charlie Spence, you are old enough to behave properly. Now stop it. Now she says that she was not a baby, so she should stop crying. As she had become old enough, as she was going outside with Charlie's men, and if she was really old enough, then she should not behave like that. She should not cry, and she should behave properly. And now stop it. She tells her to stop crying. George Pearson enters left. Now enters George Pearson. George Pearson, who is the husband of Annie Pearson. He is about 50, fundamentally decent but Solomon, self important, pompous. Preferably, he should be a heavy, slow moving type. He notices Doris' tears. Now, George Pearson enters and he is about 50 years old. He is decent, he is self important, he is pompous, he is fat, and he is heavy and also slow moving type. He doesn't, he walks very slowly, and then he notices that Doris was crying. Then, what happens after that, we will read in the next class. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.